Welcome back, everyone. In the Carter File tonight, the not guilty verdicts in the Jian Ghomeshi case in Toronto. A verdict that will resonate well beyond that courtroom, that city, right across the country. Well, what impact will it have? To help answer that question, we're joined by Lynn Moore, whose work as a lawyer has taken her into that area of domestic violence, violence against women. Ms. Moore, thanks for coming in. And let me ask you, first of all, justice, it took its course. Not guilty, the verdicts in 4 counts of sexual assault alleged. What did you think of the verdicts? Do you think there was a bigger issue at stake here?
I think there definitely is a bigger issue at stake. I was disappointed in the verdicts, especially for those survivors who went through the haranguing and the whacking of the complainant, as the mainlanders call it. But I'm hopeful that the upset that people are feeling will translate into a system that is better. We have a society where 5 out of 12 people are sexually assaulted, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men. And that's a huge number of people that are victims of this type of crime. And I think we need to see our system change so that the public can be protected from this.
All right, well, let's get a little specific here in terms, because the system is taking a lot of flack for those verdicts today. What was it about the system, in your opinion, that failed the alleged victims in this case?
Well, the system generally fails in victims because there are less than 3% of sexual assaults that happen that result in criminal convictions. So we're not doing something right. There's an interesting development in Ontario. Premier Wynne has introduced a system whereby there's going to be a lawyer appointed for survivors of sexual abuse so that they can be given advice at the early stages and they can find out what the system is all about and be told what they're in for. I think a lot of the problems with this case were that the complainants were, the areas that they were found to have been discredited in were not the actual assaults themselves, they were the surrounding details. And I don't think people realize how important these surrounding details are. I think people do their own estimation of what's relevant and what's not relevant, and then they're very surprised to find out that they're being asked questions about this in court. I also think that the system as a whole is not very empowering for survivors. Most of my work involves civil cases where survivors are suing, and they're the ones driving the bus, they're giving instructions, they're dictating which way the case is going to go, and I think that that type of law can be a lot less daunting for survivors.
Lynn Moore, I want to thank you so much for coming in to talk to us about this tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Turning now to national news, as Glenn just mentioned, former CBC radio host Jian Ghomeshi has been acquitted of all charges in the broadcaster's sexual assault trial. We get more on the story from CTV's Peter Ackman.
Flanked by his lawyers and surrounded by police and the media, Jian Ghomeshi came to court to learn his fate, and it didn't take long. Judge William Horkins didn't hold back when picking apart the inconsistencies, inaccuracies, and lies told to the court by the 3 complainants. Their evidence was tainted by outright deception. The active suppression of the truth is as damaging as a direct lie under oath. The former CBC radio host had pleaded not guilty to all charges related to assaults alleged to have taken place between 2002 and 2003. The judge didn't say the attacks didn't happen, but that there was reasonable doubt because of the women's testimony. I'm forced to conclude that it's impossible for the court to have sufficient faith in the reliability or sincerity of these complainants. Outside court, the Crown announced it's considering an appeal.
We're going to have a chance over the long weekend to take a look at it, consider our position.
Angered by the verdict and at the lawyers, protesters chanted and disrupted the press conference. But legal analysts say not guilty was the only decision the judge could reach. And now it's the women who could face legal issues.
This is about as close to perjury as you can get without being charged with perjury.
Ghomeshi left court with his family, only his sister speaking on his behalf.
It has been extremely painful for those of us who love him. Jian has, however, remained the person that we know and love.
As for the women, they say they're disappointed.
It was all one-sided. I wasn't able to get up there and actually say everything I wanted to say. It's the system's fault.
Jian Ghomeshi's legal issues aren't over yet. He's still facing a sexual assault charge stemming from an alleged incident at the CBC in 2008. That trial is scheduled for June. Peter Ackman, CTV News, Toronto.
Tonight's weather is brought to you by 811, the new Newfoundland and Labrador